Now, that's all coming up on the show today, but first, for my very last interview on FCTV, I wanted to get this man on. We had Doug Mulray on as a celebrity chef, and we never got real time to talk about his new radio show and his internet program. So, Doug, welcome to the program again.
Glad to be back. I'm sorry to hear it's your last show, Doug.
And you start on Monday.
You've worn the morning suit just to get the right mood going.
Yeah.
I think it's very sad. You've been an inspiration to many partially deaf people. They believe that it's possible to foster a career in the electronic media, and I congratulate you. Just turn to the camera, show them your little device there.
What's this?
It's the Invisi.
Oh, this thing here.
I'm sorry, it's the Invisi.
Yeah.
One has to remember to speak up. I personally just use a button on a string. It doesn't have any technological advantages, but people tend to shout at me.
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask you about your radio show, which unfortunately is up against mine.
Yes.
This is Doug. If you've never heard Doug Mulray, if you live outside of Sydney, Doug is the funniest man on radio in the world. Now, folks in Australia can actually access your radio show via the internet.
Some say funny, some say peculiar, right? Yeah,
So,
we broadcast to Sydney on 2WS FM 101.7, 4 to 7 weekdays. Join us, won't you? But we also put it out, we do a 4-camera shoot. We use the same kind of production values that you have here on FCTV, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. And we broadcast the show globally on the World Wide Web through mulrayfm.com.au.
And I think we're just throwing the internet address up on the screen right now. So are you ever going to put this on television, this show?
Well, we're presently negotiating with Foxtel to put bits and pieces of the show. You see, we dumped down 15 hours of the radio show, or at least the visual coverage of the radio show.
That's funny, they just dumped my 15 hours.
We put it onto SP Betacam and then edit a highlights package, which we're negotiating with Foxtel to broadcast as interstitial pieces, you know, little pieces, little grabs between programs. So that hopefully will come off in the next few weeks, and then, you know, looking at $19.99 for a best of show for free-to-air or again, cable, probably on Foxtel.
Now, your show is full of music and fun and comedy sketches, but you also like to take the mickey out of current news stories. We've got a little cartoon from one of the newspapers today with regards to Christopher Skase not getting his residency
look at that.
in Spain.
Look at the look of fear on his face. If I had Amanda Vanstone chasing me, I'd look afraid too. Be afraid, be very afraid. You don't even have to do something wrong to be afraid of Amanda Vanstone. Do you notice she was on the snail there?
Yeah.
That prompts a story. It reminds me of the three-toed sloth. You remember the South American jungles? They're full of three-toed sloths, one of the world's slowest moving creatures. And this particular three-toed sloth, I remember, was coming down from the last tree with the leaves on that he chooses and needs. And he had to cross a very open space, a track, something they don't like to do, to get to another tree with similar leaves, the only leaves on which they can survive. And as he was exposing himself to danger, crossing this track, he was set upon and raped by a gang of snails. And when the police arrived, you know, they asked him for a description. I mean, could he tell them anything about the snails, give them any details? He said, well, no, not really. He said, it all happened so quickly.
We've got to move on. We shot some footage yesterday just to show how your studio is so close to mine. Can we just throw to the videotape, please? And coming up shortly, some Madonna, Roxy Music, Genesis, and also Tina Arena at 13 minutes after 4. This is Rob Duckworth this afternoon here at Mix 106.5. Right, now, matey, we're going to need a really good joke for the 5 o'clock hour. Can you go and see Uncle Doug?
Yes, Dad.
Oh, good man.
Michael, a joke, urgently. You're in luck. Jokes are us, always on the standby. Now be careful if that should fall into the wrong hands. But here's eyes only.
Yes, Doc.
Damn it, it's the way he tells him. He'll probably play the tag.
Fabulous stuff. I know that you've got such a palatial studio. And I just want to make one small presentation to you for coming on the program today. Thank you, Les, for the fez. Doug Mulray has actually brought back the fez into style, and we'd like to present this to you.
It's extremely kind of
Isn't
you.
that lovely?
What an unfortunate symbol I've chosen given the present hostilities in the Middle East. But there you go. Hopefully I won't be set upon by a bunch of Muslim fundamentalists on the way out to the studios of 2WS in the cab. Listen, it's nice to see that footage. Our studios are that close, and of course you and I have always been that close, even though we're in direct competition these days. And I wish you well, mate. You're a great broadcaster. I appreciate your kind words earlier, and I think television will be poorer for your departure. No, really, Duck and I are like that. Well, he's like that anyway, as you can probably tell from that suit.
Yeah.
What a horses!
Matey, thank you very much for coming on the show again.
Give us a kiss. Go on.
What a great guy. OK, now still to come on FCTV today, we meet a man who spends his days sharing his love for the Great Barrier Reef.